Hey guys, I'm Fort Recovery, Ohio. You see the mural back there, Brick Main Street. This is town about 1,500 people. It's northwest of Dayton, a little less than halfway to Fort Wayne, near the Indiana state line. Not a lot out here. You can see back there, grain silos. It's pretty much all there is. Fields, barns full of chickens and pigs and cornfields and soybean fields. Late 1940s, 1950s, there's a boy who lived here named Rick Zaringer. He changed his name to Derringer, became a somewhat famous musician, pretty prominent in early history of rock music. You might know him as singing the song. He didn't write it, he sang Hang On Sloopy, which is associated with Ohio State University now. It's actually the official rock song of the state of Ohio. The real reason I came up here is to see this. I thought it was a whole fort. It's just a partial recreation of a frontier fort. After the Revolutionary War ended in 1783, Congress began passing land ordinances to allow settlers to claim land for free. That happened in 1785, and then 1787, Northwest Territory was organized. Other states like Virginia and Connecticut had claimed part of Ohio and the Midwest, but they abandoned those claims and gave the land to the federal government for the creation of new states. And part of the reason that the Articles of Confederation were seceded by the Constitution is that there was a recognition that the weak, decentralized government of the United States at that time could not handle the growing threat from the British and Indians in this area. Settlers moved in, they were resisted. You know, we like to think that we beat the British for good in the Revolutionary War and then beat them a second time in 1812, but the fact is we were fighting them that whole time for 43 years. They had pretty much a depot in Detroit where they just trained and equipped the Indians to fight. In 1790, when the new Congress took over, President George Washington, one of the first things he did was send 1,000 men to subdue the Indians in the Miami and Wabash valleys. That army was defeated at Fort Wayne decisively. So then the territorial governor of Virginia launched a second attack with 900 U.S. soldiers and 300 militiamen from Kentucky, which was still part of Virginia at that time. They crossed here, and back behind me is the bed of the old Wabash River. It was moved about 100 years ago, and there was a creek that came in here, creating a triangle of land where the 900 regular Army soldiers were. Across the river were 300 militiamen, but an army of Indians led by his Blue Jacket, Turtle, and Buck Angeles, whose son was killed by white settlers in Buchanan, West Virginia. His son Mahonigan was killed there. They surrounded the U.S. Army and almost annihilated it. Only 24 people survived, including one woman and an infant. There's a statue to her up there. It was worst defeat in the history of the United States Army. 95% casualties, and so at that time there was a congressional investigation. The governor of Northwest Territories was fired. They got a new governor, and they put big Mad Anthony Wayne up here to form an army, what they called the Legion of the United States, with 5,000 men. So in 1791, that's when this horrible defeat happened. 1793, he felt enough confidence in his army to come back here, and he built this, what they called Fort Recovery, because he was recovering the land that had been lost. And he kept a company of soldiers here, about 200 men, and they were their supply lines were cut off, and they were surrounded and attacked by a force of about 2,500 Indians and Canadian militiamen led by British Army officers. Tecumseh was also here, but he wasn't a major leader at that time. But the fort held. And then the next year they were able to push on toward Detroit, and they fought a major battle that they called the Battle of Fallen Timbers west of Toledo. kind of in a swamp. And the British Indian Army was just decisively routed, and they surrendered control of Ohio in 1795, the Treaty of Greenville, Fort Greenville, just 30 miles down the road. That's a little bit of American history, a little bit of Ohio history. And it's my field trip today. And you see this park here, blacksmith shop over there, a small amphitheater. Really kind of a nice little, seems like a prosperous little farm town. Beautiful fall day. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll holler at you later.